Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Little Grip Garage. Today's episode, we're carburetor swapping this 1968 Buick LeSabre, I don't really know how to say it, hardtop 4-door. It's a really cool car. It's the first car I've ever done a revival on with my dad. I was about like 9 or 7, I don't remember. It sat for a long time up in South Dakota. We had it running, drove it back home, and it's kind of just been a little thing to get around here on the new farm. And it is not running the best. We think there might be a vacuum leak or some sort of fuel issue. So we have a brand new carburetor. It's not even an actual name brand, it's from Amazon, but it'll probably be better than what's in it. So I'm gonna give you guys a walk around, and then we're just gonna start tearing into this thing, see if we can get it running way better for my dad. So it is obviously very dirty. It has sat for a good minute. It did have like red line tires and wheels, starting to get really rusted, trim's falling off. This is a hardtop, so there is no post in the middle here. It's just both the doors. It's got really nice, I don't know if this is even leather, just really nice seats. It's got different radio, definitely older, really cool. Dome light works. Interior is actually pretty nice, except for that, obviously, because that spot gets used a lot. And then it used to have the cover over the top to kind of protect this from rusting and stuff, but I think we peeled the rest of it off because it only came to like right here, and all the rest was gone. So we just went ahead and took all that off to make it look a little bit better. Overall, it's in pretty good condition. It's got most of the chrome and all of that. Some of it is a little bit cracked and broken, but it still has all the badges and stuff. But that's pretty much it. Again, a lot more rust. Windows are really dirty. But yeah, I think that's the whole car. So I'm going to set up the camera here. We're going to open up this hood, see what we got under there, and then start swapping out our carburetor. So to open the hood on this, there should be a lever down here. Completely pull it. And you should be able to lift it right up, just like that. It's a springy hood. Mouse must have used some of this material for their house. So that's pretty nice. We have some wires showing, new battery and stuff. But I'm gonna take off the air filter cover, and then we're gonna start swapping out our carburetor. So we're gonna untwist whatever this thing's called. It holds the air filter cover box thing on. And then we should be able to lift this whole thing off. Just like that. And then here's our carburetor. Obviously we have throttle here. This is throttle, turn spring, fuel line. I think something with vacuum. I don't know. It's probably like my second time working on a car by myself. But it should be pretty basic. I mean, we have 4 bolts. 2 up front, 2 in the back of this. We're going to put a wrench on this, then take off this line, not this. And then we'll just screw this one onto the new one. Overall, it should be pretty basic. Let's open up our other carburetor and then see if they're the right carburetor and then start installing it. Alright, we have our new carburetor box here. Got some foam. And then the carburetor. And so far, it's looking good. We got new gaskets in there, which obviously we're going to replace. 4-barrel quadrajet, I think. I don't know. It's got the 4 bolts just like this one. Same throttle. We're gonna have to pick up a like ball joint for the throttle right here, because that throttle linkage just pops in and out just like a little ball joint. This one does not have that, so we're gonna have to go stop by a store tomorrow and get one of those. This is where our fuel line screws directly onto. And then our other, I think, vacuum line, whatever the other hose thing is. And then that should pretty much be it. So we're just going to start tearing into this one, probably do fuel line, all the stuff around it first, then remove the carburetor, then start throwing this thing on there. Alright, we got this cracked loose. There's probably going to be a tiny bit of fuel that'll come through, but there shouldn't be fuel just constantly flowing out. There we go. We got the fuel line off now from the front of the carburetor. It's just the line. and we did not take off the silver piece because our new carburetor already has that. So now we're going to take off all of our hoses, throttle, and then we'll take off the 4 bolts for the carburetor. Okay, we're going to slip our throttle return spring off, and what this does is when you push the throttle down, it'll push it back so you're not just stuck wide open. Without it, it'll stay on some sort of throttle and can get stuck way easier. So we're just going to completely remove this spring. Never mind, it'll just hang right there like that. Pull this off, and then we need to pull this off, which I might have to get pliers for. Alright, we got that one off, and I think that's it. I'm not sure though. Alright, now we're going to take off our 4 carburetor bolts and see if this thing will come off. One more thing I forgot to do is we're going to pop off our throttle cable line madoohickey, and it's literally just like a little ball joint. Just get a flathead and pop it off just like that. And now our throttle is disconnected, and now we can continue taking off these bolts, and then this should come right off. Okay, I got all 4 of the bolts off. Let's see if this thing is loose. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Carburetor's off. So here's the old carburetor. Really dirty, obviously. Gaskets look pretty leaky. We're going to keep this spring for the throttle return spring. We're going to need that for the other throttle. And then we need to get one of these, like I was saying, so we can pop our throttle link back on. But for now, I think we can take these gaskets off, unless those are fine. I mean, they look alright. We'll still replace them as we have new ones. Let's go grab our new carburetor, get the new gaskets on, and start throwing that thing on. Alright, let's drop the new one in here. Should be just about like that. We're just going to barely get our bolts going. Alright, now we're going to tighten down all 4 of the carburetor bolts. I'm just going to get them a little bit tight at first, make sure they're all aligned, and then we'll come back over and actually tighten them down. Alright, carburetor is all tightened up. Now let's start hooking up all the hoses. First one going on is this one over here. This output that the fuel line goes into is shorter on the new carburetor. So I took off the old one on the other carburetor, and we're going to swap these 2 out so that the fuel line can reach it. And then I'm going to set a time lapse. We're going to get all the hoses back up and connected. And tomorrow we'll get our throttle cable hooked up. And then I got the cable, or the metal line, hooked up over there. That's like the choke thing. Alright, so I'm going to set a time lapse, get to work getting this thing finished up. I'll see you guys then. This fuel line connector, like I said, is too short to run our fuel line into it. So I was going to use the old one off of the other carburetor, but these threads aren't the right size. So my dad is going to cut the fuel line. We're going to use this one, screw this on, and then use a piece of rubber to fit the cut that we just did so that we can extend this line and use this one. So he's going to grab the cutting wheel. He's going to cut that off. I'm going to get some sealant stuff on this and the spring, get this in, and then this part should all be finished up. it's been a while. We got a lot done so far. I put some new plugs in because there's a lot of these random ports that we don't need to use, like this right here. I put actual nice plugs in instead of those Chinese little pin things. We extended our fuel line right here. Some rubber, keep this nice and tight. I used some of this like blue Monster sealant to keep that from leaking. And then we got all of our hoses and stuff on. And we actually did find the right parts for this throttle, which is these little pin things. But now we need to cut this, because this throttle cannot be pushed back, because that is already touching the motor. So we need to cut that off so our throttle can go back and forth. We need to put on our throttle return spring and then air filter, and we're done. So we're getting pretty close. I'm gonna get my dad to cut that piece off, and then we should be finished up. So my dad just cut that little piece off, so now we have clearance. I'm gonna go give it full throttle and we'll see if it works.
Fader the onions. Go right to the floor.
Ready?
Yep. That's all the way?
Yep.
Yeah, you're there. Okay, one more thing, bud. Yeah. So we're not using this anymore. So I would unscrew this.
And put the spring there?
Or just take that bolt off, take this whole thing off. And then that way you can run this up and just hook it right on the...
One last thing before we start it. We're going to throw back on our air filter. I got the gasket put back on there. Alright, air filter's back on. Okay, I'm going to have my dad hop in. Let's see if this thing will fire up.
I filled the bowl up with True Fuel as well, so it's fine.
Alright.
Ready?
Yep.
You gotta say it.
Bring thunder. It snapped, actually. Alright, take two. Well guys, this thing's running way better. It'll help my dad out a lot getting this thing around and just cruising it. And we found the vacuum leak. We plugged that little part and it idled down immediately. It sounds awesome, runs awesome. But I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for other content. And I'll see you next time.